Hey there. So we all know that each team's process of improving from year to year comes from their league's respective drafts. You can't always sign talented players to fill every position because that's unrealistic and would be incredibly expensive. The process before you draft someone is to have your scout team check out in-game film of a prospective player and see how they operate during the game besides just looking at their stats. Sometimes your scout teams can pick up on something that other teams might miss, and you draft someone that could perform well or unwell depending on what your team finds. And sometimes you have a guy perform so well during his collegiate years that you believe he is the key from taking your team from a dud to a stud. Sometimes it doesn't pan out that way. The purpose of this video is to take a look at the biggest busts from these sport markets of the NFL, MLB, and the NBA. I will first start off with the NFL and their top tier busts. First, I want to take a crack at who I believe is the biggest bust in the NFL. Now, there are many who can qualify for this list. It's very safe to say that this list can start with Ryan Leaf. His career never really took off after being drafted second overall by the San Diego Chargers just after the Indianapolis Colts drafted Peyton Manning. Leaf had two underwhelming seasons with the Chargers before they decided to cut ties with their bust for good. His first season, in which he started 9 games, he threw a grand total of 2 touchdowns. His second season never really happened after he suffered a torn labral muscle in his throwing shoulder on the first day of training camp that cost him that season. His third and final season with the Chargers showcased a bit better numbers in regards to his passing touchdowns, but his career was always bust-worthy. Now, I could talk about the Cleveland Browns and their many candidates of top-tier busts like Tim Couch, Trent Richardson, and Johnny Manziel, just to name a few. But instead I'm going to talk about someone who, amongst the minds of many Packer fans, is the biggest bust all time. That man is Tony Mandarich. Once tagged as the best offensive line prospect ever, the incredible bulk turned into the incredible bust. He never lived up to any expectations set up for him. He showcased supreme lackluster play during the course of his career with the Packers and was released just 3 years after being drafted. What really makes him the biggest bust for the Packers and one of the biggest busts in the NFL, besides being drafted number 2 overall and being exposed for his clearly poor play, was the fact that he was drafted ahead of Barry Sanders, Derek Thomas, and Deion Sanders. 4 out of the top 5 picks from this draft are Hall of Famers. Last on my list for the biggest bust in the NFL is Jamarcus Russell. For those who do not know or remember, Russell was drafted first overall back in 2007 by the Oakland Raiders. He seemed to be the clear choice for a franchise that was in desperate need of a quarterback, and a player who just wowed everyone with his Sugar Bowl performance. He seemed like someone who could perform well at the NFL level due to his huge size at 6'6" and 265 pounds. Unfortunately for him and the Raiders, that wasn't the case. Over 3 years with the Raiders, he has career numbers of 18 passing touchdowns, 23 interceptions, and 25 fumbles added on there as well. Not the numbers you want out of your supposedly franchise player. He never played another down after being released by the Raiders after just 3 years. Well, there you have it. Those are my top bust selections for the NFL. If you have any busts that you feel are more deserving to be at the tops for this sport, please leave a comment on this video. I'm looking forward to seeing what people have to say about the dull stars of this league. Be on the lookout for my next video as I talk about the biggest busts in the MLB. Until next time, I'm Kevin Householder.